In 52 BC, Julius Caesar was trapped. He was outnumbered, deep in enemy territory, and facing a united Gallic army led by the brilliant Vercingetorix. Most generals would have retreated, but Caesar didn't just stay. He did something so insane, so audacious that it's still studied in military academies today. He built a wall to trap his enemy, and then built a second wall to protect himself from the world. This is the story of the Siege of Alesia, the greatest comeback in ancient history. For years, Caesar had been conquering Gaul piece by piece, but the tribes had finally found a leader to unite them, Vercingetorix. He was charismatic, clever, and knew how to fight the Romans. After a few Roman setbacks, Vercingetorix adopted a scorched earth policy, forcing Caesar's legions to struggle for supplies. He eventually made a calculated decision to retreat to the hill fortress of Alesia with his 80,000 warriors. His plan was simple and brilliant: wait for a massive relief army of over 250,000 Gauls to arrive, and crush Caesar from the outside. Caesar arrived at Alesia with about 50,000 battle-hardened legionnaires. He was the hammer, but he was about to become the anvil, caught between the fortress and the coming storm. Attacking the heavily fortified hill was suicide. Retreating would mean the end of his Gallic campaign and likely his career. So he chose a third option, one that must have sounded like madness to his own men. Caesar knew he couldn't storm the hill, so he decided to besiege the besiegers. He ordered his men to dig. They began constructing a massive line of fortifications, an 18-kilometer wall that completely encircled the city of Alesia. This was the line of contravallation, designed to starve Vercingetorix and his 80,000 men into submission. This was already an incredible feat of engineering, but what came next was pure genius. Caesar's scouts confirmed a massive relief army was on its way. Instead of panicking or abandoning the siege, Caesar doubled down. He ordered a second, even longer wall to be built, this one 21 kilometers long and facing outwards. This was the circumvallation, designed to protect his army from the Gallic relief force. The Romans were now living in a giant donut of fortifications, trapped between two enemy armies. The space between the walls became a meticulously crafted death trap. They dug trenches, filled them with water where they could, and planted the ground with horrifying anti-personnel devices. There were pits with sharpened stakes at the bottom, nicknamed lilies for their shape, and sharpened wooden blocks hidden in the grass, called spurs. They built 23 redoubts and over 400 towers, spaced every 25 meters, armed with artillery. Caesar wasn't just a general anymore. He was an architect of death, turning the entire valley into a weapon. His legionaries weren't just soldiers, they were construction workers and engineers, working day and night under the constant threat of attack. They were building their own cage, but it was a cage they controlled. Then the relief army arrived. 250,000 Gauls descended on Caesar's position. The battle began. Caesar was now being attacked from both sides simultaneously. Vercingetorix's men poured out of Alesia, trying to break through the inner wall, while the massive relief force slammed against the outer wall. The noise must have been deafening, a symphony of screams, clashing steel, and Roman trumpets. The Gauls coordinated their attacks, focusing on a weak point in the Roman lines, a section of the wall built over a hill that was difficult to fortify. Under the cover of darkness, 60,000 Gauls from the relief army stormed this weak point. The Roman lines began to break, and this was it. The moment of truth, the end of Caesar's career, and very likely his life. His entire plan was on the brink of collapse, but Caesar did something legendary. He put on his bright red cloak, a symbol instantly recognizable to every soldier, so his men could see him in the chaos. He grabbed a shield and a sword and personally rode into the thickest of the fighting. He wasn't just directing the battle, he was in it. He led the last of his reserves, a few thousand cavalrymen, in a desperate final charge. The sight of their commander, the famous red cloak, a beacon of defiance amidst the carnage, sparked a frenzy in the exhausted Roman soldiers. They rallied, shouting and fighting with renewed ferocity. The Gauls, who thought they had broken through, were shocked to see not just Roman reinforcements, but Caesar himself charging at them. They panicked. The Gallic line wavered, then broke, and then fled in a total rout. The battle was won. The next day, a defeated Vercingetorix rode out of Alesia. He approached Caesar, who was seated on a tribunal, and dramatically threw his sword and armor at his feet in an act of unconditional surrender. The rebellion was over. Gaul was conquered. The siege of Alesia was a masterclass in engineering, discipline, and sheer audacity. This victory didn't just make Caesar a hero in Rome. It gave him the wealth, the political power, and the unwavering loyalty of his legions to return to Rome and eventually become its master. One man's insane gamble, one fortress, and two walls didn't just win a war, they changed the course of Western civilization forever. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history's greatest tactics, hit that subscribe button. And let me know in the comments, who do you think is the most underrated general in history? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter.